Hello and welcome to Kindful Living. My name is Zara, and in today's video, I will talk about an activity that I completed with my 19-month-old son, which is intended to help him not only recognize emotional states and feelings in himself, but also in others. Before I explain this activity, I'm going to go ahead and talk about what I did prior to this activity, as this activity builds on previous work that I've done with him to help him understand feelings and emotional states. So before my son could even talk, when he began to display a more full array of feelings and emotions, me and my family would label his feelings for him. So we would say things like, "Oh, you're rubbing your eyes, you seem tired," or "You're pouting, you seem sad." And that was what we would do for a while. And then when he was a few months older, like 11 or 12, we began looking through these flip cards, as well as a book that I got for him on feelings. And unfortunately, I can't share those due to copyright issues. But it's not even necessary to have those particular books or flip cards. You can look through magazines or newspapers. And what we did was that we would say, "Oh, this person is smiling, they seem happy," or "This person is frowning, maybe they're upset. This person is crying, it looks like they're sad." And we would help him to understand not only what an emotional state or a feeling look like, but we would also go on to explain how it might be felt, or where in the body it might be felt, or when it might be felt. So we would say, "Oh, your tummy feels empty when you're hungry. That's how you know it's time to eat." Because sometimes we would see that he was looking for food, or he would say "mum, mum," which is what he calls food. So we would say, "Oh, is your tummy growling?" So we would just help him kind of locate in his body where he might be feeling a certain sensation and attach it to a feeling or an emotional state. We made sure to find expressions that were displayed by babies as well as children and adults, so that there was an array of different expressions that he was able to draw from in his development of emotional literacy and emotional intelligence. A couple of months ago, while we were walking around in my parents' neighborhood, I picked up a few rocks with him, and we painted the rocks with different expressions as well. And that would be a game that we would play. We would go through the rocks and sort of pinpoint what were the different emotions that we had put on the rock. So there was a rock with a tear, there was a rock with a smiling face, a rock that looked shocked. And so he really enjoyed that because it was something that we were able to do together. So the current activity that I did with him for Halloween is actually just building on those other activities. And what we did was we created a mask of a jack-o'-lantern. And so this is just one of the masks that we created. But what we did was essentially create a series of masks with different expressions. And so they come with a little expression that will indicate what the jack-o'-lantern is feeling. So there's a happy face, there's one that's crying, there's one that looks sad. And I explained to him again, as I did previously, when you might show those emotions, when you might feel them. And then I also use the real life pictures of the children and the babies and the adults displaying the very same emotions as the jack-o'-lantern, just to sort of help him make the connection between the human expressions and the jack-o'-lanterns, because it looks very different when a human being displays a smile than when the jack-o'-lantern has a smile. So the great thing about these activities with toddlers is that it helps them to develop their emotional vocabulary. And at times when our little guys and girls are emotionally hijacked, and that happens quite frequently, between 18 months to a couple years, because they are developing this ability to feel a wide range of feelings, but they don't necessarily have the language to accompany that, or they get hijacked because they don't have a frontal cortex. So they don't have the ability to think logically. And so when they're having these huge feelings, they sometimes can't access language. So we ask them how they're feeling, but they really don't have the ability to express how they're feeling. So that causes a disconnect in our ability to communicate with them. So what I've done with my little guy is I'll sometimes, not when he's upset, but afterwards when I debrief with him, ask him to show him how he was feeling. And sometimes I'm able to make the connection for him about why he might be feeling that way. Sometimes it's not even that he doesn't have the language, but young people may feel vulnerable sharing how they feel, or they may be ashamed. So it's really helpful to be able to say, "How is the jack-o'-lantern feeling?" Or "How are you feeling? Can you show me with the jack-o'-lantern?" And he does it, and he's done it a couple of times. He's even actually come up to me and said, "Pumpkin," or "pumpkin," which is what he calls a pumpkin or a jack-o'-lantern, "pumpkin sad." And I almost am able to see that he's kind of expressing to me how he feels, but doing it in a way that feels safe, which is fine. So I asked him why the pumpkin is sad, and he was able to tell me once that the pumpkin was sad because Aya, which is what he calls his younger brother, took his toy. So I asked Aya to give the toy back to the pumpkin, and he was happy. So I think this is a great tool for parents to use with toddlers and helping them to not only develop language around emotional intelligence, but also to be able to convey what they're feeling in a really simple way. I hope this was helpful. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share. If you try this, please let me know how it goes and comment below. And if you want to watch more videos like this in the future, or interested in content around kindfulness and child development, please subscribe. For those of you who celebrate Halloween, have a happy Halloween. Take care until next time.